Hi, so 31 Days of Tarot by Ethany for 2018, the prompts, and today is day 12, and the question is, what started you reading tarot, and why did you continue to read? And this is by Molly Storm for this question. And what started? So I had finally given myself permission to even start studying more occult things and just woo-woo things in general. And I was really getting into astrology. And I ended up working with an astrologer who recommended tarot. She was, was like, hey, by the way, you should probably look into this as well if you're really loving astrology. And I was like, before she had ever mentioned that, before she had mentioned it, I would never have even thought about tarot. It was totally not on my radar. Even though I was I'm ready to start studying really, really metaphysical things. So with that said, I started, I waited a month or so, and then I was like, okay, I'll get my first tarot deck and, start studying. And I ended up getting, I got the Plodback Rider-Waite. Actually, what I did first was I went out and bought a Thoth deck. And then I realized that I did not, at the time it was people who recommended the Thoth system, but I wasn't even familiar with Thoth versus Rider-Waite. And I was like, okay, I'll do, Thoth. Everyone seems to say Thoth is the system to use. And then I got the Thoth deck and I realized, I was like, no, that is not the system for me to do it was for various reasons. Sorry. But, of course. So, I traded the Thoth deck and went and got my Plodback Rider-Waite, and then I was so happy. Actually, I have the, the albino weight right here. What colorful deck. So I went out and got the traditional Rider-Waite and got my first book and just had a ball with it and, hit the ground running. And actually, it's what was the question? So yeah, what started me reading? So yeah, an astrologer recommended tarot. I waited a month, got my first deck, and then just got addicted. I became obsessed, and I ended up becoming so obsessed. I was as much as I liked astrology, I fell in love with tarot. I just was whoa, this is so deep and on every level. And every system on earth has a connection to tarot. All the different metaphysical, teachings, they all connect to tarot. Astrology connects to tarot. All the religions connect to tarot somehow. And I just absolutely love that, how deep, your understanding there's layers and layers, layers upon layers of understanding. So it's you can never be complete, or you can never totally understand tarot. There's always going to be more to it. And why did I continue to read? I was for all those reasons. I just realized how much more there is, and there always will be a new layer to discover. It is so addicting. So I was just even just for, I remember really becoming enamored by how amazing it was for me, just personally, dealing with past situations or, past issues or situations among obviously current things, and, obviously for divination purposes as well. But it just helped me get to a better place in my own mind with past events. And getting some sort of, getting a clarity and a peace of mind about things that were already past. I had there's nothing more to say about it or do about it. It was in the past. And I realized how much it could help me in my day-to-day life, and how much I love doing it for myself, and then reading for others and helping other people. And then I found out pretty soon after that I have several, I come from a line of women who have, from my great-great-great-great-grandmother, did divination and cards and tea leaves, and she was a healer, and all this stuff I found out after the fact, after I became so obsessed with tarot, and and I still loved astrology, but it wasn't my main. It didn't become my main thing. Tarot was wow, this is it for me. So yeah, it was as soon as I found out that I have it tarot readers in my lineage and had no idea, and and I ended up having, my mom was the one who's oh, I never told you because you never seemed interested in the woo woo things. I was what are you talking, well, you never, what is this? And then I went to go talk to another family member who had more, she just had a lot of stories to tell me about my great grandmother, my great great grandmother, and because she spent a lot of time with them when she was a child, and so she could tell me like how they got her to start learning. They were teaching her how to read tea leaves and cards, from an early age, and it was just like I was like, wow, I had no idea. So it was like, not only is it like in my lineage, but I personally just absolutely love it, and I find it to be this incredible system that could benefit everybody, even the most analytical, logical, was it left brain, just total non-woo-woo person could benefit from it, just from the archetypes themselves and the meanings behind the archetypes and how you relate to them and your perspective. So even, I just love how it joins left brain, right brain, and you can just, for personal development, you could become so much more aware of yourself and, in situations in relation to like what kind of questions you ask. And it's just so beautiful for like just learning yourself, at the very least as a personal development tool. It can help you in a myriad of ways. So, and I feel like with maturity as well. So, so that's how I began reading tarot. And once I did start reading for others, I asked myself a million questions and learned the cards and just couldn't stop reading, all the books I could on it, and couldn't stop buying decks because I loved reading the guidebooks that came with the decks. I'm just been obsessed. Every new step has been a new level of obsession for me. So, and I loved reading I just always, as soon as I started reading for others, I couldn't stop. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is amazing. So anyway, that's day 12. So yes, yay. So everyone,